Hello there, lovely people. Thank you for joining me today. I'm Lisa. This is my channel, Bobo Bun So Vintage Life. I'm a vintage inspired seamstress of 37 plus years, totally passionate and getting more fixated or obsessed about all things sewing and fitting and pattern making and vintage wearing by the day. I also teach dressmaking, which I've been doing for the last 6 years. Absolutely love it. I'm a qualified lecturer, so I moved from academic teaching to teaching my passion. Seemed the right thing to do, so now no day feels like a work day. It's just fun doing what I love. So I love to share with you my experience, what I've learned along the way, my top tips. So I share them here and also on my Instagram feed, as well as through my classes, my face-to-face classes. So today's vlog, I want to cast my mind back over February. So February's favourites, whether it's things that I bought, seen, done, watched, made, wins, tips, that sort of thing. So I shall be back in a very short while and we'll chat through February's favourite. Right, thank you for joining me to look at February's favourites. Well, Bobo Bun's February favourites. There's been lots going on in this month. When I looked back over, I mean, we're only just a few days into March, taking part in the March Meet the Maker over on Instagram, which I love. One, having the prompts for ideas, but just to share the nuts and bolts behind what you do. And so many people, obviously thousands of people joining, so that's really interesting, seeing what everybody else gets up to as well. Right, so for me, I'm just thinking for the whole of February. Interestingly, 1st of February, I uploaded my first ever video or vlog to my YouTube channel. I've had my YouTube channel for ages, like years, but never ever posted anything. And then I decided to take the leap. I've watched one or two people, there's a few I subscribe to I think are utterly wonderful. And I think I probably made excuses about not doing it, that I haven't got the quiet equipment, blah, blah, blah. But do you know what? With most things, it's best to just jump in and do it. I'm still yet to discover how you get the numbers and you get the views and get people watching you. All I can do is do what I think will interest you, respond to what you want to know about, you know, connect with the audience. So I'm doing that, and hopefully more people will join me as we go along. And yeah, the people that have joined me, I am very, very grateful. It's lovely having you on board. I really appreciate your comments and your feedback. So thank you so much for that. Really, really appreciated. I've had some requests for things I will talk about in future vlogs. Don't worry, I will touch on those. They've not been forgotten. It's all been noted down in the book, as the fabulous Miss Bet Davis said in her interview with Terry Wogan. It's in the book, so I've got it in my book. Right, so I started this channel at the beginning of February, which was a lot of fun, starting editing and creating vlogs for you. In the sewing world, I did a blog post for Lamazy Fabrics, which I absolutely loved. I'll put a picture of the dress up, but I've also got the dress here, so I'll show you around the dress. I did various vintage sewing techniques. That's what the purpose of my blog post was, talking about the vintage sewing techniques. So if they're ones that you would like me to do some how-tos on here for some of the techniques that I will show you in the dress, then I'm very, very happy to do that, so that you can recreate the same looks, because I don't go into the how-to details on the blog. Used a lovely blush viscose twill, got bound buttons and beautiful vintage buttons I had in my stash. I've got the yoke sewn down with some top stitching, and then the button and the hook and snapper closure rather than a zip, which is very true vintage. Then on the back I've got several rows of pin tucks that provide the shaping to the dress. Love that feature. And instead of using a shoulder pad, I used a shoulder frill with Peterson ribbon. So lovely feature. My other February favourites were two vintage pattern wins. that I've had. I'm wearing one, and today's Thursday. I'm actually filming this the day that I'll be uploading this. Well, I hope to get it uploaded for all the things I'm doing. But I wore this last Thursday to go to the Stitch Festival in London, finished it before I got on the train. So it's a fabulous fabric from Till the Sun Goes Down, absolutely gorgeous. The French is bouquet d'ette and summer bouquet in English. But it's just the most gorgeous crisp cotton. And I knew I wanted a high square neck bodice on this, and I found a vintage pattern that had exactly the shape neckline I wanted, but I only had the front piece and it wasn't my size. So I used that to draft a bodice off, and then I created a back bodice. I used the sleeves from another vintage pattern, which were 3/4 sleeves, but I've shortened those. So there's a lot of grading up, drafting, etc. I'm a real lazy sew because I know how to make pattern blocks, but I haven't done them in my current sizes, and I really need to do all the measurements and do that. Then I'd have my kind of go-to all the time. So I just end up getting patterns, and then I adapt them and I size up or down or whatever I want to do, and change the looks and things. So yeah, which probably is more long-winded, but I've got all those things there straight away to use. So that's the way I do it. So I made this, and I put the Butterick skirt on with the pockets, and yeah, you can see how lovely that is. I absolutely adore these pockets. I have got too much of an addiction, I think, to this skirt at the moment, because all I can picture every make having is this skirt. So I'm trying to be really good with one of my current makes to say, no, it's going to have another skirt. So what does I say with the vintage patterns? I made this, and I also made from an original 50s pattern, hot pink and black dress in fabric I got from Rainbow Fabric Kilburn. And I just knew that was the fabric for this dress, and this pattern was just an absolute steal because everything in the pattern was my size, and I just had to take it in a little bit. So that made the whole process a lot easier. I twirled the top half of the dress and it fitted, other than a few little tweaks from removing a bit of fabric, and I was just like, yes, we can get on with the sew. So that was a real February favourite, just being able to get on with the sew. One of my other February favourites was watching the film Mothering Sunday. Now, I mean, it wasn't like a joyful ride, but visually just beautiful and inspiring. I've talked to you in previous vlogs how I absolutely love, I think it was called my Vintage Inspiration video. I watch period dramas and films for sewing inspiration. I love the story, but my brain just gets caught up in just all the beauty and the delights therein. And so watching Mothering Sunday, I was just absolutely caught up in Jane, well, she's the main character, I guess. The Jane's red jacket, which she wears all the way through, and the red and the teal colour are like emblematic of her. She's got a teal scarf or a hat, and the red jacket. And I think she might have a red dress or something later, I can't remember, but those two colours are emblematic of Jane, and it was a certain type of red, and I've talked about it, whether it's on my Instagram or here, cannot remember, but I found the exact red in my fabric store. So I've got that all cut out, ready to go. I did a massive cutting out session yesterday, and I know that's March, it's not February favourites, but I did a massive cutting out. So I've got this all cut here, the red dress that has the skirt with the pockets. So it's going to be a mariner top with the skirt because I adore the skirt. It just feels so good to wear. It's slim fitting around the hips and waist, and then just roofs out, so you've got that lovely full skirt with the circle skirt feel at the bottom, and just the most amazing pockets. So that's an absolute win. What else did I want to talk to you about? Oh yes, I discovered this absolute beauty. It's called Mariflex thread. It's by Gutermann, and I have talked about this before, but it's just blooming marvellous. It's a thread for sewing jerseys, so no more lightning stitch or zigzag if that's what your machine does. So that looks clunky and awkward. You can just do a normal straight stitch. If you've got lightning stitch feature on your machine, then it's really tiny, so it's a nightmare unpicking, and you'll end up putting holes in your jersey if you're really unfortunate, which I have been. Straight stitch is really easy to unpick. Lightning stitch is slow or slower, and I'm really impatient sewer. Yeah, I want to do it all really well, but I really want, when I'm sewing long straight bits, I just want it done. So straight stitch is quicker. And this thread, you've got it in the bobbin and on the top, and you can pull the jersey and it won't snap. So I've got this jersey here, that's by Graziella fabric that I got at the Stitch Festival. And I've just sewn that up. I think that was yesterday I sewed that up using this marvellous Mariflex thread that I found in February. And yeah, I've been telling all my students about it and shouting it about here because I just think it's marvellous. And it comes in all sorts of colours, and you can get it in other brands as well, but I've been using the Gutermann because I like the Gutermann threads. And it's got yellow ends, so you know that's the one that is. So that's another February favourite. I went vintage shopping with my dear friend Kat, which was absolutely lovely. Haven't been able to do that for so long, so I got lots of goodies, and that was an absolute favourite point, and going for a lovely lunch and just being with a lovely friend. I nailed the fit on a previous pattern in February. I don't know if you can see it hanging up there, hopefully you can. If not, I might even go and get them just to show you. Here we are. So I've got the pink dress that I was talking to you about. This is the Peter Pan Bolero from Charm Patterns. I've made it various times before, and you know, I've just put them into the charity shop and made 3. I'm never happy with the fit around the neck and the collar. It always felt a size down too small. So I sized it up. I've made this green version, and obviously I'll make lots more hot pink colours. This really isn't my usual colour palette at all, this kind of washed out colour. I like deep, intense colours. This feels rather muddy. I mean, it's certainly not a pop of colour, is it, that kind of shade? And I like pops of colour. But it is beautiful, and I bought it to match another fabric that I was trying out. So that's why I've gone sort of off my normal colour palette, you know, to the more muted tones. But absolutely thrilled that I've nailed the fit on that one, because that means I can make more, which is always a good thing. You know, I teach fitting, but it doesn't mean I don't get it wrong sometimes. Yeah, we are human. We are born to fail at times. It's normal. Right, what else did I want to tell you about? Yes, I've talked to you about this. And Mrs. Maisel is back, which, oh gosh, I nearly was late to my class the other night because I was catching up, and I'm trying to think which one it was. When I think it was just the show was just so marvellous, you know, the burlesque review show, just like a riot of things to look at. So yeah, Mrs. Maisel's back. She's already inspiring some of my makes. I've got something cut out, the green dress. Now I know this isn't going to February, but she started in February. So I've got this from the green dress. So I've cut the front and back bodice. On the bias, I've got to decide on the skirt, and I'm going to put some sleeves in. So I've already got black dresses and all sorts. Yeah, she's just a feast for the eyes. Amazing, amazing costume designers in that show. And another February favourite, I wanted to share this with you as something I've got to work on. It's not a paid commission, it's something that I said I'd like to do. I'm trying to get it around the right way so I can show it to you. This is the most delightful, let's hold it up properly, I'm trying to get it. Can you see that? It's got straps. And I'll try and do a, you know, little cutaway video of this as well. It's a little 1930s playsuit, and it's in a very poor condition. You know, there's lots of holes in here. When we go up inside the pleats and in the pockets, you can see the original colour that would have been. I mean, it feels a bit yucky, but it's from one of my students, Polly, and she loves wearing vintage. She bought this in America quite a few years ago, wears it all the time, and she said, I'm just worried if I wear it now it's going to fall to pieces. She's never washed it, that's why I say it's a bit yucky, and I have said to her I might have to wear rubber gloves to handle it, but she's been so frightened that the fabric would fall to bits, so she daren't wash it. But it's in such a sorry state, and she brought it to the sewing class and was telling me the story about it, and that's why I said, please can I take it home to do my best to mend it and repair it, because it's just so beautiful and I don't want this to be lost. And apparently the story was, I think it was bought in Portland. The story was that the lady that owned it, she had all these beautiful, beautiful clothes, and I'd imagine this was probably made for her by a local dressmaker, or she sewed herself, one or the other. It's definitely made by hand. Now this lady had the most amazing clothes all stored in trunks in the attic, but those clothes went into the attic when her husband died. She associated them with happy days, and once her husband died she didn't want to wear those clothes anymore. So I imagine he died when she was still quite young and wearing things like this, and they all got packed away, her happy clothes. And then a buyer of vintage clothing or a collector got hold of these, whether it's through family or whatever, and bought them to sell on. So this Happy Days romper, which is just exquisite, it really is beautiful. I want to save it, even if it's just something that Polly can hang on her wardrobe, she won't wear again. You know, in memory of this unknown lady who stored away her Happy Days clothes, you know, when she lost her love. It deserves, you know, to be there, to be cherished in memory for her. That's the kind of emotional, nostalgic, silly, sentimental old sausage side of me. So that's another February thing that I've got to be getting on with. And I'm going to add, I mean, I'm being all positive and upbeat, but I want to be honest, February ended on a really bad note, that we have 3 cats, and it's terrible to say you have favourites. You shouldn't say you have favourite children. I don't have favourite children, of course. I genuinely don't, but I'm sure some people do, if they've got a lot to choose from maybe. But with the cats, I'm really sorry to say we did have a favourite, and yeah, he died very terribly as we were rushing him to the vet very early in the morning. He died in my partner's arms. So that was a terrible end to February, and has left us you know, feeling very, very sad ever since. Yeah, grief is a terrible thing. You hear people say, oh, it's just a cat. That's people who don't have pets or don't get it at all. But some are more just cats maybe, but he really wasn't. He was a friend. So yeah, that was a terrible thing to end February on, but February has also been full of lots of fabulous things, and that's what I'm reflecting on in my February favourites. So I hope you've enjoyed a little foray into what I've cast my February favourites, and if you'd like me to do that, reflecting back on every month, a bit like a newsletter for the last month of inspiration and makes and whatnot, then you know, I'll carry on doing that. I've got so many other ideas for future vlogs. One, I'm going to look at the inside of a garment and other garments, talking about finishes. Really want to go through dress hacks on particular patterns, you know, and ideas. Yeah, there's lots I want to share with you, but just pop your ideas, you know, because I'm filming these for you to enjoy, so I want to put out there the things that you want to see and know about. You know, might just be nosing around, whatever. Just feel free to ask, and I can only but accommodate you if it's reasonable, can't I? So thank you very much for joining me today and watching. It's really, really appreciated. If you like what I do and you want to keep being notified when I pop up, then please hit the subscribe button. I think that's the bell. And do a like, please. Not those ones, we like those ones. So a like, please. Or comment. Comments are lovely to receive, and I always reply back to you. Sorry if I do miss any, I do my best to get everybody. So look forward to seeing you again next time. Bye bye.